So 2021 has been an absolutely crazy, insane, bonkers year for Star Wars hot toys. I'm going to go ahead and rank the most craziest and unanticipated, shocking reveals for Star Wars hot toys thus far in 2021. We're going to go over every release, and I'm going to give you full analyzation on each one of those. And then afterwards, is it possible that I heard from the Hot Toys Wizard on what could be coming next before the end of this year? Look, baby, I got the off-world Jawa egg juice in hand. Let's dive into it right now. All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So before we dive into this episode, guess what? The Dark Jedi, Aries Turrington, who serves up all the Star Wars Hot Toys talk, will be live and raw this coming Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Let me tell you something, brother. You don't want to miss live and raw this coming Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, because I'm going to have the spotchka, and I'm going to have the proper 66, and I'm going to have the wizard juice, and I am going to have the off-world Jawa egg juice, regular decaf water, whatever, baby. You don't want to miss that. It's been a long time. I'm certainly looking forward to be hanging out with all of you again this coming Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'll also be live this coming Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Dante, the Man of Hot Collectibles live show, which will be 6 scale, unfiltered. So look for me on Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on that show as well. But my oh my, what an absolute crazy, insane year it has been for Star Wars Hot Toys. And I'm going to go ahead and rank each one of the reveals, the announcements for Star Wars Hot Toys, from most expected to least expected. From least shocking to maybe most shocking. Not just character-wise, but time frame-wise on when they came out with it as well. So it's kind of like mixing in a few different factors into the ranking. Because I think with some of these, we knew that they probably were going to come out with them, but we weren't thinking they were going to come out with them when they did. So I kind of ranked them to that regard. So we'll start with the one that was least surprising to the one that was most surprising for a variety of reasons. But is it possible, after we go through that I am going to share with you my thoughts and what could possibly happen this second half of November and December of this year? And I say yes. I may have heard from the Hot Toys Wizard, baby, on some things that you can expect before the end of the year. But without further ado, let's go to the first figure. I'm going to go from least surprising to most surprising. And here's your first one. So for me, this was the least surprising to me, because I'm actually more surprised there's not more Grogu announcements at this point. This is the new Mickey Mouse, my friends. And boy, is this little green guy taking the world by storm. And yes, I am getting this release to go with all my other Grogus and all the Grogus I'm going to get with some of the other releases that are going to be forthcoming. But yes, this is a cool release, but certainly one, to me, the least surprising of them all. Let's go ahead and go to the next one now, ranking these from bottom to top. Next one. So, with the Artillery Stormtrooper here, this is another very, very cool release. But not surprising at all. You know, they're using Stormtroopers in the Mandalorian original trilogy Stormtroopers. And hottoys are going to make these all day long as they continue to show up. Because A, people buy them, and B, they already have the molds. So this is easy. Easy money for them for sure. And while this is cool, this is hardly a surprise to me. Let's go to the next one. And this one falls really along the same lines with this Stormtrooper Commander. Again, another very, very cool release. And is going to fill the gap for many collectors in using this in their original trilogy collection. But again, they're going to continue to make these hot toys as the Stormtroopers continue to show up in the Mandalorian and other series as well. So I think we're going to get a plethora of original trilogy figures, more that are coming. But again, this is not a surprise. Let's go to another release from this year and go to the next one as we're ranking these from bottom to top. And while this particular figure certainly spawns some debate as to whether this is a good release or not a good release, or if this should have had some die-cast parts, or should have been die-cast, or, you know, if this was worth making or not. At the end of the day, the Dark Jedi Aries Tarrington was not surprised at all with the way that Favreau and Filoni were building up this new trooper. On you know, hot toys coming out with this. So no matter what you think of it, I was not surprised by this at all, especially with how much that they pumped these up, on how tough and seemingly unbeatable they were. If not for anything, it showed how Luke completely crushed them all, which certainly boosted Luke's power profile up in people's minds as well, if nothing else. I love that these troopers were used to demonstrate that for Luke Skywalker, and certainly a release that is different. Looks very Terminator-esque, but while it is very different for Star Wars Hot Toys, to me this was not very surprising at all. Let's go to the next one now as we continue to move up. And with this figure here, you know, the Transport Trooper from the Mandalorian, again, you know, I'm not going to be really surprised when they come out with Trooper iterations that appear on the Mandalorian or any of the series. I think that that's easy money for them. So, you know, this here, you know, again, a mold that they already had and not surprising to me at all. So, I expect releases like this. It certainly wouldn't shock me if we get more Trooper releases, reveals, announcements before the end of this year. In this design or any of the OT designs. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it for sure. But that's my take on that one. Let's go to the next one ranked up. And this one here, you know, the Shore Trooper, again, not surprised. Not surprised. You know, again, any of the troopers, you know, that appear on the Mandalorian, I think are candidates for not anything shocking, or out of left field for that matter. And let's go to the next one as we continue to rank these all the way up to the most shocking. And going to the next one here. Now this one was surprising, because this one is labeled Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And that was very interesting to me. And while it's not a complete total surprise because they already have this mold and are coming out with another figure like this anyway. Still a surprise nonetheless that they went ahead and, put out another Rogue One figure, which spawns hope for perhaps other Rogue One releases. But let's continue to move on and go to this one here, which to me was even more surprising and borderline shocking because, and this Shore Trooper squad leader, again from Rogue One, that's 2 Rogue One releases. And really, for me, this posed some interesting questions. Is it possible that we can get even more Rogue One, perhaps, releases? Perhaps maybe a Baze Malbus? Since they're not totally down, obviously, on Rogue One labeled releases? And I say yes. I really think we're going to get a Baze Malbus. I wouldn't be surprised if, just like we had a reissue with the Attack of the Clones Yoda, the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett Deluxe. It would not shock me if for some of these figures that are fetching, quite frankly, astronomical prices in the secondary market. Chirrut Imwe, Jyn Erso, Director Krennic, K2SO. I'm sure for a lot of collectors, including myself, I'm looking for all of those. I don't have any of those within my Star Wars Hot Toys collection. I think they are candidates because remember, Star Wars was not exactly in the best place. Once The Last Jedi came out, when these were coming out, and obviously, when the Solo movie came out, and I told you the whole thing about trying to factor in all the dark clouds that were over the whole, Star Wars in general, and collecting in general. So, wouldn't surprise me here if we start seeing more Rogue One releases. So, let's keep going up, ranking these all the way to the top 1. Let's go to the next one here. So, Bo-Katan. This was, for some, a little bit surprised when, at the timing when this came out. To me, not really. But this is the next one on the list. I mean, you knew they were going to come out with some of the Mandalorian figures that had head sculpts. But this is an absolutely fantastic, tremendous release. And putting this up onto the screen. I think, the amount of detail that they put in this particular figure. And it comes with that nice little backdrop that you can utilize. I mean, just look at that helmet. Yeah, I love this figure. And, one of the very interesting things about this release is, this is Katie Sackhoff, who actually not only is portraying Bo-Katan in live action, but was the voice actress in both the Clone Wars and in Rebels as well, which some people don't realize. So this is very, very special. And you have to wonder, could this particular release be even more highly sought after because of all the attention on the Clone Wars reveals, releases, announcements that are coming out? Because Bo-Katan was, and especially with some of the Season 7 characters that they've come out with, was a Season 7 character. And also a Mandalorian character. So really, you can go ahead and use this for your Clone Wars collection. It doesn't matter what the box is labeled. Especially because they're using real life, humans' faces for these. Not animated faces. So to me, this is an absolute crazy release. And I think the surprise with this was the controversy on the head sculpt and the level of detail and how cool this is. The price at $285. There were a lot of things that were surprising about this that makes me put it up where it is. But for me personally, I think this figure is awesome. I think this head sculpt is really, really well. I think it's more of the lighting. I think Katie Sackhoff is beautiful, personally. I think this head sculpt is not just fine, I think it's great. And just like the Rey, and just like the Lando, and just like the Kylo, they're going to go ahead when the final production photos come out. And this is going to be even more perfected as well. So to me, I absolutely cannot wait. I mean, just look at that. I mean, this is flippin' awesome, folks. It's flippin' awesome. So for a variety of factors, this had some surprise. So this is why I rank this one where it is. Let's go to the next one, as we are getting up to the middle soon of where we are here. We're moving our way up. And the next one. So yeah, the Armorer. The Armorer, baby. Let me take some off-road Java egg juice. So this was a figure that early on in the year that I was really projecting was going to be forthcoming, and forthcoming fast, by Hot Toys for Star Wars. And I think a lot of people were hoping so, but there was certainly quite a bit of debate onto if they would come out with this, or they would wait till, a following season to be able to do this. But for me, this wasn't a surprise, but it was a surprise for a lot of people, and certainly a surprise that it was available as fast as it was as an exclusive. So for that reason, I put this up above the others so far. And I think this is an outstanding release. Again, to me, this was a little bit of a rush job, where you have two Phillips head Phillips head screws that show at the bottom of the foot. Never seen that really before for a Star Wars hot toy. And also the not having double jointed legs and arms is very interesting to me on a figure that costs, what this costs at $245. All that being said, not everything can be perfect, and this is still an outstanding figure. And I mean, just look at that. That looks awesome with the backdrop. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. The detail on the armor and on the head. Yeah, so for those reasons, I think that this was certainly very stunning and a very pleasant surprise for a lot of collectors when this particular figure came out, for sure. Let's continue to move on in the rankings here and go to the next one. So this one is very, very interesting on many levels. So if you remember back here with Echo, there was a lot of debate that they would not be coming out with any Bad Batch animated series releases, for this anytime soon, and only if the show did well and would have a second season. And while all that debate was going on, voila, this came out. And there's a lot of surprising things about this particular release, and like I said in the last episode, when Jesse and Captain Vaughn came out, I was pointing out, as I've pointed out for months, that they are 1,000% Hot Toys going to be coming out with so many clone trooper designs and reuses of Tamora Morrison's head sculpt. It's not even funny. Just like you're seeing all the Stormtroopers that I showed you, OT figures, and you're going to get so many more of those OT Stormtrooper iterations. You're going to get just, if not more, of these Clone Trooper type of iterations. And people are going to buy them up. And for me personally, all the ones that come with Tamora Morrison head sculpt, I'm scooping up, baby. And I mean, just this figure is outstanding. I mean, just look at this. And the other surprising thing about this as well, and not only the fact that they actually came out with a Bad Batch figure, and they came out with Echo before Hunter, and that they came out with it in May, basically May 4th week, which surprised so many people. the other surprising thing was, this was really the big, the big reveal during the May 4th weekend, and certainly did very, very well. But was not a legacy character, so that was very surprising in and of itself as well. So putting that up where this is, and an outstanding release. I mean, just look at that. And then going to the next one, which will be no surprise, to follow this, you had your next Bad Batch figure, Hunter, which really showed a lot of collectors and the collecting community that they're certainly committed to putting out Bad Batch figures. But, there's still, questions. Are they going to go ahead and release all 5 of the Bad Batch? Are you kidding me? How can there even be any question if they're going to come out with these? They can cancel the series tomorrow, my friends. They just came out with Jesse and Vaughn. A lot of people don't even know who they are. Of course they're going to come out with them because they're clones. And it's easy money. And until we stop buying the clones, they're going to keep putting these out. So, a little bit surprising. Now we're going to start getting into, we're at the halfway point into the upper echelon of SHOCKS. Let's get to it, folks. As we're getting close to the top 10, which I will tell you will be, just counting it here, will be coming up after this next one. We're basically in the top 11. So let's bring it up on the screen. So, Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike. So, what is surprising about this, and why this is up at the middle, is really in the fact that they needed an unsealed and revealed for the Mandalorian Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike, because it was severely lacking in pre-orders. And no, the reason is not because it's, this is Return of the Jedi and that's just The Mandalorian. Hate to break the news to you, but The Mandalorian is far more popular right now than Return of the Jedi. And yes, I like the Return of the Jedi better. I'm just telling you right now, as a realist and looking at this logically, it is the truth. Mandalorian's where it's at. That's not the reason. However, the reason that is surprising about this, for a lot of collectors, is why would they come out with something where they were trying to generate pre-orders? It's because coming out of this COVID environment, I already explained that if they can reuse molds and they just sell 3,000 of something, 4,000 of something, 1,500 of something, they're going to go ahead and put that figure out. Again, bringing up something like the Dark Side Red. Oh, they're never going to come out with that because I don't like the character and I hate the sequels. Get that out of your heads, because that's not logical thinking. And they're going to come out with that because they could sell 1,500 of those. 2,000, 3,000 Dark Side Rays easily. And they could certainly sell the same amount of these extremely easily. So, while surprising that they would do that, really with the new way that it seems like that they're operating, and I've been talking about this a lot, more and more figures, a lot more, but just less production on many of them. To me, they already have this. This is an absolute no-brainer, but a surprise and shock to some. Now let's get into the top 10. And the top 10 is going to consist of, the first one at 10 is really a bunch of figures all kind of in one kip and caboodle. But let me go ahead and put it on the screen. Yeah, this spawned a lot of talk among a lot of channels, didn't it? To get some more off-world Jawa egg juice. The greatest thing about this to me is that we're probably going to get a Tauntaun in the future. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Surprising. At $315 is not so much, not just the release, the price point. The fact that they would pick this from season 1. A surprise. I mean, you can just buy a Blurrg. I mean, pretty cool. Definitely cool. Definitely cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was surprising. It was surprising. Let's go to the next one, which is kind of all mixed in here with this. So, a reissue of sorts with the Blurrg. So, not available on his own, but you can get the OG Mandalorian with the Blurrg. So, you can either get the Blurrg by itself, if you already have the OG Mandalorian, or get another OG Mandalorian. And of course, there's been a lot of talk that most probably the legs and the tailoring with the pants is going to be different to allow him to be able to pose that way over the Blurrg. I'm not sure if that is the case one way or the other. It makes sense to me. But nonetheless, a surprise that they would go ahead and put out, if it's not a straight reissue of the figure, almost then, if they didn't tailor, if they change the pants at all, with the Blurrg. With this particular release. So to me, this was, and for a lot of people, a surprise. Certainly capitalizing on the Mandalorian stuff. And continuing to move up this top 10 list. Let's go to the next one, which was this. And this was another one. This was a huge shock to a lot of people. Huge shock. And I remember when I put this on one of my banners very early in March or April on one of my shows. Certainly got a lot of comments. Aries, you're out. You're crazy. You're outside your mind. They're not coming out with this. Season 1's a long time away. This character is passed on. There's no way. Sure enough, the Hot Toys Wizard was right. And they came out with Kuiil. So, yeah, it was actually a surprise for me to see that the Wizard was right. The Wizard certainly has proven to, him or herself or itself to me, for sure. Remember, the Wizard's a changeling. But, this was like cool as heck. Are you kidding me? I'm definitely getting this. And no, I'm not getting it with the Blurrg, but I'm definitely getting this. I mean, this is outstanding. And a surprise, a surprise when you actually see Hot Toys, come out with something that you think that they really are or should come out with. Look at that. That's awesome. With the IG-11. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, just look at that there. The Grogu. This is super awesome. And that looks awesome with the Blurrg, to be honest with you. Looks incredible. But this was definitely a surprise. Wow. They came out with Kuiil. Let's continue to go. So obviously the next one's going to be Kuiil on top of the Blurrg. And, so, you basically got, 4 of these in a way. You got Kuiil and Kuiil with the Blurrg, and you got the Blurrg by itself, and you got the Blurrg and the OG Mandalorian. So you got 4 figures that all 4 releases that all kind of relate to each other here. So this was certainly a shock. And, obviously you got a price point there that is very, very high. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, but it certainly was a surprise. Let's see where we're up to here now. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're down to the top 7, counting down to number 1, the top 7. So let's go to number 7. The 7th biggest shock so far this year in 2021. Now, this was a shock to many. And this was another one that some of us were calling, and I was calling. And I think the biggest consensus is Hot Toys contention would be they have the Beskar Mandalorians out on the market. There's no way they're going to compete with themselves, with that Hot Toys or come out with this. And I think we've got to stop thinking that way because they're continuing to surprise us and perhaps defy logic. And, there's different, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. So they do have a logic in the sense of what they're doing with this. But look, I mean, I put it on how many banners that we were going to be getting a Pedro Pascal head sculpt. And it was going to be coming. And they weren't going to wait for those Beskar Mandalorians, which they produced in zillion numbers, to sell out because they'd be waiting forever and a day for that to happen. And this release, holy moly. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I mean, you can just see. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. I mean, look at that. Look at that. And I'm pretty sure that may be how I posed this particular release. I am so flippin' excited for this release. My goodness. This Mandalorian is just awesome. The whole series, everything Favreau and Filoni are doing. Are you kidding me? Gets me excited about all things Star Wars. From the prequels to anything. And that's what positivity will do. Positivity will encourage and foster interest and excitement about everything pertaining to a particular thing that, there's positivity about. And that's just the nature of things. This, wow. You just look at that. Designed for that finale scene. For sure. Let's go to the 6th. They're ranking up to number 6 now, baby. Number 6. Are you kidding me? And this just came out of left field. And what's very interesting about this is there were many of us in the collecting community that were having doubts. Hey, are they done with the Clone Wars? Are we really going to get that General Kenobi? Well, I think you can lay down your fears and rest assured that they absolutely 1000% are. And they are committed to the Clone Wars line because the collectors that collect Star Wars Hot Toys have proven to Hot Toys that they're committed to buying the Clone Wars line. Are you kidding me? But I was not expecting Captain Vaughn or this next one with the Tamora Morrison head sculpt, which was not the figure that I was expecting at all to be coming up with next. And you can see right here, number 5. Clone Trooper Jesse. Wow. And you have to wonder, what kind of hope does this spawn for future Clone Wars releases? And even more particularly, Clone Trooper releases for Star Wars by Hot Toys. And I think it I think it shows a lot of hope that we're going to get so many of these particular figures. And this is just another outstanding release. And again, I'm going to get every single one of these troopers that come with a Tamora Morrison head sculpt. Are you kidding me? And this just blew us away. And just like the title of my live show from this past Saturday, in honor of this release and Captain Vaughn, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you're going to see. With head sculpts that sell, with molds that sell, with things that they don't have to invest terribly too much into. Is it possible that they're going to come out with iteration after iteration and version after version? And I say, yes. And it's enough to spill your coffee over, baby. Man, it is so exciting right now to be a Star Wars fan and collect Hot Toys. We're down to the top 4. Number 4. Are you ready? Make some noise if you are ready. Oh, baby. And I'm ready for this. And a DX, no doubt. And boy, do I remember the messages with this. Because, yeah, I went out on a limb listening to this Hot Toys wizard that they were going to drop Ahsoka Tano with the Clone Wars Ahsoka Tano out. Yeah, some interesting comments and messages in regards to this. But the Hot Toys wizard looks like he told me correctly, because this came out. This is the one that should have came out on the May 4th weekend, not the 2 weeks before. Come on. But yeah, baby, are you kidding me? Ooh, you just look at that. Rosario Dawson is awesome. She's awesome. And she played this part awesome. And when you watch Ahsoka Tano, the way in the animated series, and the way she walks and the way she talks and her mannerisms, and this Rosario Dawson obviously studied it. She nailed it. She nailed this. Come on. This is coffee spilling. I can't wait to get this. I mean, look at that. Oh my goodness gracious. DX release, tailoring on this, the stuff that it comes with. Are you kidding me? What a moment. Filoni. I mean, just look at that. Look at that. Look at that tailoring. And this Grogu has our articulation as well. I think this is the one that has the articulation with this Grogu. This is sick. This is sick. Look at this. I mean, that is incredible. And wait till the final production photos come out of this, and you start seeing reviews on this Rosario Dawson Ahsoka Tano. Ooh, one of my most anticipated releases next year. I just cannot wait. This figure, I'm going to stare at it for hours. For hours and hours. And let me drink some more off-world Jawa egg juice. Are you kidding me? Can you feel the excitement, baby? Woo! Number three. Yeah. Well, I know. Betty didn't think they were going to come out with Boba and the Throne before the book of Boba Fett. But Hot Toys marketing and Disney begged to differ, and they wanted to capitalize on using this as a form of advertising, and with all the advertising that was going to take place for the book of Boba Fett. Certainly not surprising to me that they came out with this, but this is just, well, it was a shock and a half for a lot of people, but I think just every time you see something amazing like this, I mean, what a moment. It's just a shock just to see it. Even if we all knew it was coming or thought it was coming, it's just so nice to see this. Because, you're reliving what Favreau and Filoni gave us. Let's just be honest. And I've spoke about this before. As we're looking at stuff like this, Hot Toys has been releasing moments and moments that are dear to many of our hearts. And I'm talking about just talking Star Wars right now. As a diehard Star Wars fan. Star Wars over everything for me. This is what I want. And, maybe if someone is not a Star Wars diehard or they like Star Wars, but they're not as into it, my wife loves Star Wars. But she likes it a lot because I like it a lot. But, I mean, she doesn't get all worked up with stuff like this, but she enjoys it. So, but for me, this means so much. It means so much to me. And to see them come out with this, man, I mean, and this looks outstanding. Look at that. Look at that with the Casca Reeves, it looks like helmeted. They're coming out with that. Look at that throne. Look at that throne. Wow. I mean, this is epic. Epic personified. Look at that throne. Man, I gotta have that in my collection. As a Star Wars fan, it's a huge moment. I mean, Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Yeah. Yeah, and this head sculpt is different than the 2-pack one. Because it looks a different direction. Just slightly different, just like the Luke Endor is very, 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 very slightly different than the Luke Jedi Master. But, I mean, that's just incredible. Look at that. I cannot wait for this book of Boba Fett. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about her in a little bit. She has the spotchka. Let me have some of that spotchka fennec. Come on. I need to help wash down this off-world Jawa egg juice, which is like an eggnog, baby. All right, let's go to the next one. Number 2. We're one from the top, but number 2. And I think you know what's coming, baby. Yes. Multiple shocks with this one. The most being, you cannot get Boba Fett in the robes by himself. Are you kidding me? Woo! That is probably the most shocking and interesting points of discussion that we've had in the community. You can get Boba Fett with that armor, with that worn out armor by himself, but you can't get Boba Fett with the robes by himself. And I've spoken about this so many times. There's going to be a time, because I feel that a lot of collectors are not putting together that this is actually Boba Fett. Because there's something about, for many collectors, not all, but with many of them, when you're collecting Boba Fett, that you need to have all versions. And for some reason, I'm getting the sense that with at least some anyway, that there's not a need for this version, which makes sense because, but I think that later on, just the collecting germs that flows through some of our bloodstreams we're gonna look back and be like, man, it's incomplete. I don't have every Boba Fett. And it's going to make this 2-pack so valuable. It's not even funny. And I'm going to tie in Ahsoka Tano with Grogu and the aforementioned Boba Fett and the Throne and this absolutely epic release into the next one I'm going to bring up. With some very interesting analytics. I'm going to bring in some things to make you wonder as to why this 2-pack is so epic. But I think the other thing that was also so shocking about this was the level of detail on this Boba Fett. I mean, just look at that armor on Boba Fett. Just look. I mean, this is just. I mean, oh my goodness gracious. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. I mean, I am so excited for this release. And this was a shock that it came in a 2-pack, and I mean, this was definitely one of the shocks of the year. And I think the way that this looks, there was so much talk about this. I remember the Razor Crest. Yeah, there it is in the background. Wow. And really, for me, this 2-pack, let's be real. This was the return of Boba Fett. Yes, I know we saw him at the end of season 1. We saw the armor on, on Timothy Oliphant, on Cobb Vanth, and we saw him there. But this was his triumphant return and return into battle. And he certainly wasn't jobbed like he was Return of the Jedi in this one for sure. I mean, he showed his quality as a warrior. My goodness, and why he's the most fearsome bounty hunter in the galaxy. Are you kidding me? Is it possible when I get this 2-pack set, I'm going to be mesmerized looking at it for hours and hours? And I say, yes. Woo! Partly this year for Star Wars Hot Toys, we'll have a lot of memory of when this was announced, because it certainly spawned a lot. So, let's go to the number one. Number one. Number one on so many levels. Not just shock-wise, but there's a lot of reasons. And without further ado, drum roll please. Let's go to the number one shocking reveal from this year thus far. And you all know that this just puts a huge smile on the Dark Jedi's face. Are you kidding me? Oh, my word. My word. Look. So much conversation on whether this was going to come out maybe the end of this year. Possibly more towards if he shows up in another series, the next year. Certainly with, Luke already up, and a Bespin Luke coming. And, with the Luke already up, how many Lukes could they come out with? And I think that we see now, with everything that has transpired this year, you got to start thinking Marvel, because all bets are off when it comes to Star Wars and Hot Toys releases. But are you kidding me? Oh my goodness gracious, what this did. What this did for me as a fan. As a diehard Star Wars fan. As a diehard Star Wars fan who was not happy that they killed off Luke. And there are diehard Star Wars fans that don't have a problem that they killed off Luke. And I know that, and I respect that, and that's fine. And I know that there's also diehard Star Wars fans that, I guess, really liked that the way he was portrayed in The Last Jedi in the beginning. I liked it when, he kicked butt with the crate scene. That I liked, and I have that figure. I think you all know I didn't particularly like how he was portrayed as the quote-unquote hobo Luke. So it just depends on what floats your boat. But really, unless you're a diehard Star Wars fan, and as a diehard Star Wars fan, you go one way or the other. you just don't understand what this release could mean. And if you're a diehard Star Wars fan and you lean towards the notion that the way that Favreau and Filoni brought back Luke Skywalker, that was the way for you, then you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And I understand, we called this the deep fake, the deep fake, the deep fake. But besides the crate scene, which I think was cool, until he died, which I think was the greatest blunder in cinematic history besides killing off Darth Maul, which was number 2. At least in my view, anyway. For me, as a diehard Star Wars fan, I lean towards the notion that the real deep fake is this. Because this wasn't Luke Skywalker as I remembered. The crate Luke Skywalker, I remember that. That was cool. But this is the beginning of this movie? No. And like I said, this wasn't even my biggest problem as much as that they killed Mark Hamill off. So unless you're a diehard Star Wars fan and you know both sides of the fandom, some that like this, some that don't, and both sides can understand each other's points. But unless you're a diehard Star Wars fan, you have no idea what I'm talking to you. But for me, and you understand, this is the deep fake. This is not the deep fake. This is off-world Jawa egg juice and coffee and proper 66 and wizard juice and all the milkshakes in the world combined into one, baby. This is the moment that I really wanted deep down in my heart, and Favreau and Filoni somehow answered the call to my heart. Are you kidding me? I mean, he absolutely crushed. Look at that on the screen. He crushed those Dark Troopers. Those Dark Troopers, come on. They were made to be so tough, so unstoppable, so unpenetrable. And Luke Skywalker walked through them like they were paper cups, baby. Come on. That's the hero I grew up with. And I don't care as a die-hard fan about measuring the pixels of the accuracy of what they did on Disney Plus. I appreciate what Favreau and Filoni were able to do with the budget that Disney gave them to just make this happen. And Favreau and Filoni know that. It was the sentiment of what they did. And this is the kind of release that I was looking for from Hot Toys. And they absolutely nailed this deep fake, which to me is not the deep fake. This is the real Luke Skywalker from my perspective on the way that I at least wanted him to be portrayed. And Favreau and Filoni knew that there was a lot in the fandom that were looking for an answer like this, and they 100% delivered, and then Hot Toys delivers this. And unless you're a diehard fan, and whether you go one way or the other on this, unless you're a diehard fan, you just don't understand. That would be me. I'm not a diehard Marvel fan or a diehard Star Trek fan. And I can never understand, my dad is a diehard Star Trek fan, diehard. And just like he can't understand some of the feelings that I have when it pertains to Star Wars. He likes it, but he doesn't get into it like me. He has some deep feelings when it comes to Star Trek as well, and I really can't relate either. So, unless you really understand this, like the way I do, you really don't understand what this release meant to me. This means so much to me, I can't even tell you. I don't think that there could be a release that comes out this year unless it's a Bespin Luke or a Hoth Luke that can match this. Not even a Bespin Han. Not even an Endor Han. Not even an R2-D2. Not even a C-3PO. Nothing but another Luke. Maybe a Return of the Jedi Vader. Can mean what this character means to me. Especially in the way that it was, in my view, corrected. And I mean, just look at this. So spectacular. And again, this shocked a lot of people. It shocked a lot of people. It broke the internet, this release. I went live and raw on this and had almost 200 people watching live. That's how much it meant to this community. And the way Hot Toys captured this head sculpt looks exactly the way it looked on screen, which is exactly the moment I want to relive. And I understand it's not pixel perfect. But believe me, Favreau and Filoni did everything they could with the money they had to make it work. The reality is Mark Hamill isn't this young anymore. But they did what they can do. And it's the idea in the story and in the lore of Star Wars of what Favreau and Filoni did that why this means something to me and why this release means something to me. To me, this is not the deep fake. I showed you what I thought was the deep fake. This is the real deal. Just look at that. And that's the Jedi I always envisioned. And certainly one that I hope that they explore more and tie into the sequels, or perhaps do a different timeline or retcon or explain it in a different way. They're going to do something, if not multiple things. In working with George Lucas. They didn't just do it to do it. There's a very significant strategy of putting, they didn't just throw this into The Mandalorian for fan service. As a matter of fact, Favreau and Filoni haven't thrown anything in there for fan service. There's a very specific reason, and they have an idea through their own storyboards, whether written down or drawn down or on their own computers or in their heads, in secret, on where they want to go with Star Wars. And they're not just throwing things on there like a whim, which I heard some of the sequel things were done. This is not done that way. And fan service is part of it. And fan service should be part of it. If I go see an Avengers movie, I want to see Avengers. If I see a Star Wars movie, I want to see Star Wars characters, not just all the new things. And I want it done the right way. And this, to me, was done the right way. Ah, so epic. I mean, just look at the way, I just cannot wait to get this. This just absolutely blew me away. This is number one on so many levels. They give me Luke on Todd, that'll be number one. They give me a Beskar Luke baby. There's really... In my view, not only is that number one, and not only is that not a deep fake, that is the way. This is the way. This is the way. All right, so what could happen the rest of November? And what could happen in December, baby? What figures could come out of left field that could possibly be even more surprising or make it to the top 10 of this list or even the top 5? Let's go ahead and go through some of it. All right, so let me pull some of these up on the screen and see. I really think that this is very possible this could come out of left field. And yeah, this would be a surprise, I guess, but I guess in some ways not a surprise. They already have this at a quarter scale. And again, they have 17 Spider-Mans and 3 Captain Marvels and 25 Iron Mans, but they don't have one single Darth Vader up for pre-order or in stock. Is it possible that we're going to get a Vader or 2 or 3? Even though we're coming out with the Obi-Wan series? And I say, Yes, we are. It's Darth Vader, baby. The greatest cinematic villain, and the greatest villain in all cinematic history. Don't ever forget that. And Star Wars is hot. And gonna get hotter. And they could come out with any Hayden Christensen or any of the Obi-Wan Darth Vaders, and I'm going to buy them, and there's no way I'm skipping on this. And that's going to be the same with a lot of collectors, so they're not worried about it at all. Just like they weren't worried with 2 Ahsoka Tanos. Telling you right now, baby, this could come out of left field too. I remember some of the messages about Kuiil. Okay. Look, I think we all can kind of put together now. Any of the prominent characters they're going to come out with, don't think they got to wait 2 years for this. Right now, the Mandalorian's hot. They're not going to wait for it to perhaps not get hot. They're going to come out with this. So this could come out of left field, baby. It could come out of left field. Come on. So can this. They already got the whole trooper outfit, so they just need Bill Burr's head sculpt. Even though they didn't tease this at Sideshow Con or New York Comic Con, don't put it past them. And don't put it past them for this. I spoke about this. Look, they didn't even need anything else to promote the game coming out again. You think they won't come out with I mean, Black Series kills it with this figure. And the Jedi version. And they've already come out with this figure again. And I really think they're going to come out with their own type of Venomized stuff or their own type of comic stuff or whatnot, like Marvel stuff has. And just, I mean, can you imagine whether they call it credit edition or some other type of thing like this? But Hot Toys paint would be beautiful. Beautiful on this OG Mandalorian. I mean, I would be all over this figure. It'd be hard to pass up. It's like that vintage color Boba Fett or the animated Boba Fett or prototype Boba Fett. But Aries, this is not Boba Fett. Yeah. So Mandalorian, who's, to be quite honest with you, is just as popular now. Just saying. And the same thing if they wanted to go ahead and do this with the heavy Mandalorian, which, man, I love that heavy Mandalorian figure. If they came out with something like this, I'd probably buy it. That looks sick. So, again, these are just possibilities. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised with this. We've talked about it all year. There's no problem with licensing. There's no problem with anything. They're just coming out of the dark clouds from the sequels where you didn't come out with Kit Fisto, you didn't come out with Padme, you didn't come out with C-3PO, which they teased 2 different versions of. You didn't come out with the Airborne, you didn't come out with the 212. There's no problem with the licensing with 212. No problem with the licensing with the Airborne. No problem with the licensing of Poe Dameron. No problem with the licensing of Baze or any of that crap. All it is that they just are trying to catch up. And this is 1,000%. You heard it here. From the Dark Jedi, Aries Charrington. This is coming out, including, which they already have Sam Jackson signed. You just don't know it yet. And when he shows up at one of these series next year, you're going to come out with that figure of what he looks like there too. And please don't tell me there's going to be too many, because I got all the messages about too many Ahsokas. It came out, and came out fast. So this is coming fast, and it'll certainly help that Jango Fett. And which you could pose with your Count Dooku, which is kind of cool, I guess. But I'd much rather pose him with Mace, just to be honest. Yes, I mean, this could come out of left field. I fully expect this to come out. I mean, look, all the prequels figures they've come out with so far have went on waitlist and have sold. And with Star Wars being hot, I mean, this was a great character. Natalie Portman did a great job. There's no way that they won't come out with this. So this could be one that comes out of left field that people don't expect. So if you don't think that they're going to come out with C-3PO or R2-D2, then you are lost. You are my brother, Anakin. Hot Toys were supposed to lead C-3PO. Not come out with all these figures and not come out with it. He's the chosen one. Come on, Howard. C-3PO. the chances of Hot Toys not coming out with C-3PO is approximately 3,720 to 1. Wait a minute, I'm getting a call from the Hot Toys Wizard. Yes, Wizard. Yes, I'm on my small phone. Yes, you told me last time. Yes. Uh-huh. You sound like Marilyn Monroe. Really? You're kidding. Are you sure about this now? This is imminent. More than a 3,720 to 1 chance that it is. It's like infinity. There's no chance at all. There's not even a number that this won't come out. Okay. Bye. Well, the Hot Toys Wizard, the next one I'm pulling up on the screen, is imminent. Hello there. Yeah, come on. They just came out with Clone Trooper Jesse and Captain Vaughn. They're gonna come out. They're committed to the Clone Wars. They're gonna come out with it. Even if for whatever reason they only sell 1,500 of these, they'll sell 1,500 of them. They're gonna come out with it. This is coming. This is coming. You heard it from the Hot Toys Wizard. Oh my goodness. Left field. Well, this one's not left field, but this one's coming this year. It's coming. It's coming so you could put her right on the chair with Boba, right on the throne with Boba, and her spatchka, which looks really good. They just didn't want to reveal the head sculpt at that time. They just, you can't reveal everything, and then there's no surprise. Then there's no surprise. And that's the same thing with that. I'm telling you right now, they're coming out with the Cobb Vanth head sculpt. There's no reason to come out with that figure unless you don't have it. So they're coming out with it. The head sculpts for sure. And I think it's going to be this year. And the same thing with Axe Wolves and Casca Reeves for sure. There's no reason to buy those figures if you can't pose it with Katie Sackhoff the way that they're posed in most of the Mandalorian posters. It makes no sense. So they'll be coming out with those. To me, those aren't really very, very surprising because they're coming out with more figures. They need more figures to put out, especially for 2023, let alone they need ones for 2022. Not even, let alone 2023, just like they came out with that quarter scale Batman, which is 2023. You could rest assured there's going to be a lot coming with Star Wars for 2023. They need it, baby. So I think all those are coming. Without question. Here's a left field for you. They already teased it. In a way. And remember, this isn't, this isn't the final production photos here, folks. This was deliberately set up by Hot Toys. And not that they couldn't deliberately set that up in the future, because I think they're going to, possibly with that Django. But probably not, but they can. We'll see. Oh, this is coming. They already got the, this is coming, this Leia. It's coming. So this is something that could come out of left field. I'm just saying. Let's go to some more. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be this head sculpt, the same head sculpt, a new head sculpt altogether. But I think whenever they come out with this, and hopefully with a new head sculpt, or maybe this head sculpt and even improved, then the next one you're going to get, you're not going to have to wait 2 years or a year after this comes out with. And the number one shock and surprise, probably even more than the Mace or anything else, the Padme, even more than the C-3PO. And this is 1000% gonna come. I've heard this from the Hot Toys Wizard. And why didn't I put Han on here? Han's coming. You're gonna get your Bespin Han. Don't lose faith. You're probably going to get your Endor Han. I mean, there's possibly you can get the Endor Han before that. You're certainly going to get a Hoth Han if you get the Hoth Luke, and I think you're going to get them both. I think you're just going to be seeing the Han from A New Hope, both of those head sculpts, the regular version and the Smirk version that came with the Stormtrooper disguise. You're going to see those both, which quite frankly, I spoke about this in my last video. I would be more than fine with, paint apps they can redo the hair. I think that's probably the easier route for Harrison Ford. But would you look at this, baby? Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, any of these releases here, what do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think, how they would compare to the list that they come out with this year. Which ones would top the list? That's it. That's all I got. I hope that this episode was fun and entertaining for you, for sure. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy the content. And please go ahead and subscribe to 6 Scale Cantina, the channel here. I so very much appreciate your support. And if you enjoyed what you watched here today, and you would like some heightened thoughts, some expanded analysis of the secondary market, perhaps some crazy unboxings of figures, to see my face when I do them. I just have fun as a kid and hit the camera and have it go, and it's crazy. Or perhaps you want some conversations with the Hot Toys Wizard, a show hosted by the Hot Toys Wizard. You may want to consider becoming a Cantina Insider. All you have to do is just click on that little join button that's in the channel, see everything that it comes with, and if you like it, you think it could benefit you, you may want to consider joining. Now, again, if you want a preview of it, all you got to do is go to 6scalecantina.com. And in this little teal banner here, I have the Cantina Insider information on the right-hand side. And I have just a small sampling of some of the video banners that are up for insiders that they could watch. Like this Rex unboxing, what goes inside the chart, the Wizard in person. That's right, that's a show hosted by the Hot Toys Wizard, NWO with Grogu. Future Grails, so much stuff. So you may want to consider doing that. Also, look here to the left. All new 6 Scale Cantina mugs. I just came out with these, just a few months ago, a couple of months ago by popular demand. And the holidays are coming close. So if you want to go ahead and get one of these for yourself or for a special someone, you may want to consider doing that now. All you got to do is go to the website, click on this. It'll take you to Zazzle. They always have a really great coupon code. You can get this in 11 ounce or 15 ounce. Put in the coupon code. And if that's something that interests you, you may want to consider doing that as well, for sure. Now, if any of these surprise announcements or any announcements come out, you're going to want to subscribe not only to the channel, to know when I'm going to come out with Live and Raw and a live show to address these, but especially Live and Raw. But you're also going to want to follow me on social media, Facebook and Instagram, because I'll immediately put up a banner and say, hey, I'm going Live and Raw in 1 hour. Or I'm going Live and Raw tonight with this release, baby. Or I'm going Live and Raw this morning. So I got the links to the social media within the video description below. You definitely want to hit that up and follow me on there. Remember, I'm going to be live this coming Saturday with Live and Raw, baby. I'll be bartending. And I will have the off-world Jawa egg juice. And I'll have a lot of coffee. Hot or cold. I'll have water. I'll have decaf. I'll have cocoa. I'll have chocolate milk. I'll have milkshakes. I'll have proper 66. I'll have spotchka. Don't want to miss it. I'll also be live again this coming Friday. Dante made a hot collectible 6 Scale unfiltered. Remember, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. Stay thirsty, my friends. See you this weekend.